I spent a lot of time this week thinking about one of the passages that Pastor Zach broke down in his talk. And this is one from Mark's biography of Jesus' life in the 5th chapter, verses 40 through 43. Jesus took the girl's father and mother and his 3 disciples into the room where the girl was lying. Holding her hand, he said to her, "Talitha cum," which means, "Little girl, get up." And the girl, who was 12 years old, immediately stood up and walked around. They were overwhelmed and totally amazed. Jesus gave them strict orders not to tell anyone what had happened, and when he told them to give her something to eat. One of the things that Pastor Zach pointed out was just how intimate the scene actually was, from how Jesus spoke in his native Aramaic language to how he gently held the hand of Jairus' daughter before he raised her from the dead. This passage is one of the many examples of why the person of Jesus is so compelling to me. One thing I hadn't thought about before until Pastor Zach's message was that Jairus, a synagogue leader, wouldn't have been able to touch the corpse of his own daughter because, according to Jewish law, it would make you ceremonial unclean to touch a dead body. So it must have been a strange and maybe even poignant moment for Jairus as he watched Jesus pick up his daughter's hand. This is not the Messiah he was expecting. He was expecting a warrior king who would raise a powerful army and overthrow the Roman Empire with swiftness and assurance. But instead, he's met by a humble carpenter who befriends fishermen and tax collectors and who is sitting at his daughter's side with her hand in his. Is this the kind of God you're expecting when you read about God of the Bible? When you think about how God feels towards you, do you imagine wrath and anger, or do you imagine this passage? Despite what you think, the kind of God we're dealing with is not one who looks at all of your sin and brokenness and only comes near you with a 10-foot pole. If there's anything we know about God based on the person of Jesus, it's that he's not distant or removed, but rather he draws near to you, even amidst all your flaws and imperfections. Take some time today to reflect on God's gentleness and intimacy. If you've never done it before, consider reading the whole book of Mark this week or this month, or at least the entire 5th chapter of Mark. How do you see Jesus interact with people who are hurting and in need? What does it reveal to you about God's heart for you? The answer might surprise you.